Welcome back, sports fans, to another edition of our weekly high school football preview. Once again, my name is Greg Buckner, and I'm joined by Dane Pavlovsky. Moving on here to the regional round, we've got three teams still in the hunt here for the state championship in a few different districts here. Start off, let's look at one of the first games here. We've got Reed City going to be traveling down to Grand Rapids, West Catholic. Pretty tough test here for the Coyotes. Obviously, first district title here in school history, taking down the Chippewa Hills last week. Just talk about the kind of test that they've got going on against a very tough Catholic team.
Well, like you said, it's a big test. And, starting out the postseason here, Reed City's had two teams that they played in the regular season. So, you have some tape. You kind of know what you're going to see again. And now it's brand new Grand Rapids West Catholic, and they do have a little history. The one game that they've played before was a district championship game in 2011 that Reed City lost. But head coach Monty Price said that that's going to help the Coyotes this week. Because when they went into that game a couple years ago, he said the team, you could kind of tell, they didn't really think they could win that game. And he said they've played now. They played close to Muskegon Oak Ridge last year in the district championship. And now they've seen some of these perennial powerhouse teams, because West Catholic is the reigning Division V state champ. And they said, you know what, they're not unbeatable anymore. Our kids think, we've seen them, we've played with them, we can take them. And, so it's going to be interesting. But like you said, a really tough test. When you Google Grand Rapids West Catholic football, they have the website made for the college recruiters to come watch. They have all the highlights. You see their uniforms. They look like Oregon. They got chrome helmets and all this. True. So you can tell it's kind of a different level of football at West Catholic. And but Reed City, talking to Monty Price, he said they're going to do what they always do. They're not going to change for West Catholic. They're going to play their style of Reed City football. And like you said, it's going to be a really tough test. I think West Catholic's definitely going to have the edge. But Reed City, they're fired up. They're ready to go. Yeah,
I have to agree with you there. I think they believe they can do it.
Right.
Obviously, it's a tough test going against a team like that. But looking at the forecast, also going to have some snow in the area, which is always good for sports writers to go cover the game in. But I think that's the thing. Grand Rapids, West Catholic, they're going to get it done. But I do think if you have the bad weather and with Reed City's running game, I do think if they can make the game ugly early on and maybe get a little bit of momentum going on, maybe a big play that gets them ahead, early momentum, I think they can maybe have a chance. But like you said, I just think Grand Rapids West Catholic, too much firepower. They've got too much talent. I think they are going to end up pulling away in the end in this one. But, watch out. If Reed City can get on the board early and make it ugly and get that running game going, we could be talking about an upset. But I don't think it's going to happen. So moving on here, we also have Pine River is going to be taking on Boyne City, hitting the road here. Bucks have been riding a pretty hot offense throughout the season, but put up some points. Looking at this game, what are the Bucks going to have to do if they're going to come out of there with a victory?
I got off the phone with Coach Terry Martin yesterday, and he said they need to keep doing what they've been doing too, which is, finding ways to make plays, not necessarily just on offense. They've had a lot of special team success this year, especially with Brandon Fulks. They've had a lot of big defensive plays, and they've really played well late in the game. And he said if they're going to try to get one here from Boyne City, like you said, they're undefeated this year. They're always in the playoffs, always a big team that makes some noise. He said they're really going to have to find ways to make those plays. And one of the things he said was going to be the most important was keeping that underdog mentality. He said, we've been the team that's slated to lose the last two playoff games. He said, so we want to keep going with that we have nothing to lose. We can't lose anything here. Boyne City has everything to lose. And he said, it's going to be tough. Boyne City has some great athletes. They have a running back, put up 4 touchdowns, 140 yards last week, and a 47-0 win over Negaunee. So Boyne City definitely riding high right now. And Pine River, it's going to be tough. I think Boyne City comes out with this one, but Pine River, they're going to come out fighting. They're going to battle.
I think that's kind of the same story as we talked about the Reed City game. You've got to, if you can get in early, maybe get a big play, get some of that momentum going where they start believing, hey, we can do this. I think that's going to be the biggest key for them. But like you said, Boyne City, they're on a roll right now. They've got the firepower, and I do think that they're going to be too much for the Bucks. But if the Bucks can get a few early jump plays going there and get up a little bit of confidence and get thinking they can do it, maybe they might come out with it. But I do think Boyne City obviously is going to pull away with that one in the end. And then moving on to our third game, we have Baldwin's going to be traveling up to Beale City. Baldwin, pretty good offense, obviously led by Brandon Childress. He's been doing good things all season. He might be an all-state player there like he was last year. But going against a Beale City team that's obviously also got a very deep playoff history, and they've been a powerhouse perennially. So kind of talk about this game and what Baldwin has to do if they want to come out of there with a victory as well.
Baldwin, it's interesting. Like you said, that the offense and the history that Beale City has, they've lost in the Division VIII finals the last 2 years. And I think that's really going to kind of tip the scale in their favor. But this is the first time this year that the Panthers have seen a team with a comparable offense. Baldwin has scored about 50 more points total on the season, but Beal City's put up a whole bunch of points. They scored over 57 times this season.
Good.
So a whole, like you said, pretty good.
Pretty good.
A whole lot of offense at Beal City. They'll have it at their home field, and just that playoff experience. They've been to the show the last 2 years. They haven't won one yet. They're going to be even more fired up. They've been there. They've had the experience. Baldwin, their first ever district championship. Like you said, Brandon Childress has done some special things this year, but I think that little storybook season comes to an end this week against Beal City.
I'm going to have to agree with you on that one. Beal City obviously knows the path you got to take to Ford Field, and they've had a pretty good history of doing that. It's been a great season for Baldwin, and they've had some really standout plays, but I do think just moving up to the game against Beal City, that's going to be a tough one for them to come away with. But, it's been a good season for them, and definitely nothing to hang their heads down, but I do think Beal City is going to come away with the victor in that game. Alrighty, folks, well, here's a few more of our picks for this week, including the Bulldogs' big football game against Walsh, as the Bulldogs try to finish their first undefeated season since 1995.